What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Got our final Week 3 preview and prediction video up for you here tonight. And we're going to be talking about a old rivalry renewed here in Morgantown, West Virginia. We got the Pitt Panthers against the West Virginia Mountaineers. Oh boy, should this one be a lot of fun to watch. The Backyard Brawl is back. Again, this is the game that was played last year. Going to be a lot of fun to watch this one this year. We're going to dive into that. But first, a little business to take care of. Thank you guys so much for the support the channel has seen as of late. It really does mean a lot. If you want to continue to show your support and you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when videos get uploaded this college football season. But there are more ways than that to help me support my channel. If you don't feel like hitting that subscribe button, you can, or I should say you're doing one right now by watching the video, but you guys can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, and anything else you guys are willing and able to do to help interact with and support the channel. So enough about me, enough of the business side of things. Let's talk about the Backyard Brawl. These two teams, oh man, do they not like each other at all. And hey, you got a lot of new faces on both sides of the football here in this game. So should be a very, very fun, entertaining contest to watch out of Morgantown, West Virginia. It was a very entertaining game last year. I'm expecting a lot similar, maybe not similar game styles, but a similarly entertaining matchup this year. So let's go ahead and dive into the stats that both of these teams have put up through the first 2 weeks of the college football season. We are going to start with the road team that is the Pittsburgh Panthers, and let's talk about their offense first. So last week was kind of a blip, right? This was just a Pitt team that couldn't get anything going at all against a Cincinnati defense, especially at the quarterback position with Phil Jurkovec. I believe he was like 10 of 30, 10 of 32 last week. Just not a Phil Jurkovec-esque performance at all. On the season, that's 393 yards and 4 touchdowns. So even though he did struggle, did not throw an interception in the last game. Again, this is the Pitt team that only has 1 turnover so far this season. And while the run game is averaging 150 yards per game, it really has struggled to get a whole lot of consistency going so far. You've got a lot of guys that have taken reps for this team. Daniel Carter, my apologies, Rodney Hammond, Sibo Flemister, apologies if I said that last name wrong, and Phil Jurkovec has shown the rushing ability here and there as well. But this is a Pitt team that's going to need to find some consistency offensively, and it's kind of hard to imagine they have a performance like they did last week, right? But let's move over to the defensive side for the Pittsburgh Panthers. Oh, also, sorry, before we move on over to the defensive side, this will segue nicely. Pitt offensive line has allowed 6 sacks so far this season, and there are some dogs on the West Virginia front that we'll talk about here in a second. But this Pitt defense is kind of staying 1 for 1 with what its opponents have been able to do. They're also generating pressure, and while it's a Pitt team that feels like it hasn't really found its pass rush in its entirety quite yet, I mean, that 7 sack number kind of would tell you otherwise there as well. But again, this is a Pitt team that, again, needs to find some consistency just across the board, especially within that pass rush, even though they've already generated 7 sacks this year. Third down defense is great. They're not allowing too many points, not allowing too many yards. And, hey, this is just a defense that has really buckled down, has not allowed much, and just needs to find some consistency on that side of the ball. It's kind of all I got to say there about that Pitt defense. For the West Virginia Mountaineers, for this Mountaineer offense, Garrett Green is that new quarterback of this season. He's also going to find some consistency throwing the ball. He's flashed the legs numerous times. It is averaging 5.2 yards per carry. In fact, he's ran with the ball 20 times now this year for 104 yards. Garrett Green has proven that he is a threat to run the football, but that pass game has got to get a little bit more consistent. He has a lot of weapons to do it, but just got to prove it, right? 402 yards and 4 touchdowns is what we're looking at for Garrett Green on the year, 57% completion percentage. That can definitely rise for him as, again, he has a lot of good weapons, but he also has some good weapons in the running back room as well. C.J. Donaldson has been electric. He's been really, really good, as well as Jaheim White has kind of emerged onto the scene for this West Virginia team as well. 12 carries for 110 yards, and I know what you're saying. He probably has a 90-yard touchdown in there somewhere. No, his long on the year is only a 39-yard run. He's averaging 9.2 yards per carry. He'll be a threat in this game here as well. Again, much like the Pitt offensive line, do a little bit of a better job at protecting your quarterback and convert on those third down opportunities as well. When you take a look at this Mountaineer defense, I mean, week one was kind of that performance where you kind of knew that it was going to happen, right? You knew that this defense was going to get torched, and it did. This was a Penn State team that pretty much could do whatever they wanted against this West Virginia Mountaineer defense. But when you take a look at the defense overall for West Virginia, fans in Morgantown have got to be pretty excited based on what they've seen out of this run defense so far this season. Again, at times, it was definitely a little hard for Penn State to run the football on this West Virginia team there in week one. But when you take a look overall at the West Virginia Mountaineer defense, I mean, it's generating some pressure. You got 4 sacks, including 2.5 sacks already to, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize to Mountaineer fans everywhere. Tomowa Durohaye. I know I said that name wrong. You can roast me in the comment section down below for it. But they've been able to generate pressure. They've been able to pick and choose their moments where they've created turnovers. Third down defense is looking good. Get that secondary on the same page as your defensive front, and you got yourself a pretty good defense here, which leads me into my keys for the game, right? What to watch for, kind of some things or I guess leads me into my what to watch for keys to the game, things that I think you should keep an eye on when you are tuning in to this one, as you should. It's going to be a very entertaining, very fun game, but Pitt's offense, again, I said it when we were looking at stats. I said it when I was kind of talking about what happened with that Cincinnati loss last week, right? It's kind of hard to believe that Pitt is going to have a offensive performance much like they did last week, right? There was a run game that couldn't really get anything going, and Phil Dracovic just wasn't himself. Expect the Pitt offense to be much, much, much better here and make this Mountaineer defense work for a lot of what they're going to have to take, right? That sense didn't make any sense, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. Second key, take advantage of the inconsistency of this Mountaineer offense. Yes, while Garrett Green has looked pretty solid, while C.J. Donaldson and some of those wide receiver weapons have looked pretty good so far, all in all, it's been a very inconsistent up and down roller coaster type offense for the West Virginia Mountaineers. So take advantage of that, right? If West Virginia is going to make a mistake, force that turnover, force that sack, force that tackle for loss. Pitt's going to need it here in this game to come away with that road victory. And speaking of forcing tackles for losses and sacks, the pass rush needs to come to life. Yes, I know. They already have 7 sacks this season. Find that consistency, create that constant pressure on Garrett Green on this run game. And I know it says pass rush there, but really be able to find that rhythm on that defensive front, right? For the West Virginia Mountaineers here, Garrett Green is probably going to have to run for his life and find the pass here in this game, especially if this is the Pitt defensive front that comes to life. So this is the West Virginia offensive line. Give him some time, right? Let him sit in the pocket and be able to find that pass, but we've seen that Garrett Green should be able to run the ball there as well. So I'm not too worried about that, but he's probably going to have to be able to find the pass at least once or twice throughout this game. Create any pressure on this Pitt offensive line. It's been shaky, right? And you saw that Pitt has allowed 6 sacks so far this season. And again, there are just some absolute dogs, including Sean Martin, that linebacker as well, whose name is escaping my mind right now. But taking a look at this West Virginia defensive front, guys, they have so many great vital weapons, and they're going to be able to really take it to this Pitt offensive line that's going to have to find its rhythm here in this game. But if you are the West Virginia Mountaineers as well, again, it's hard to imagine this Pitt offense will not be better. So control the tempo, control the clock. West Virginia is going to have a nice chance to go ahead here and win this game, which leads me into my prediction. I was kind of surprised to find out that here West Virginia is the 2.5-point favorite, but the FPI likes Pitt, and I like Pitt in this matchup as well. I think West Virginia is just a little bit too inconsistent offensively, and while I think West Virginia is going to have their moments to steal this game, or not steal this game, but while I think West Virginia is going to be able to have their moments to win this game and send the fans in Morgantown home happy, I just think that Pitt's offense will get a whole lot better. I think that pass rush is going to come to life. Pitt will make the extra play, and the backyard brawl for the second year in a row, I believe, will go to the Pittsburgh Panthers. So that's going to do it for my thoughts here on this game, and that'll do it for Week 3 preview and predictions. Enjoy your college football Saturday, and remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.